Hi. 65% of women in India who take a maternity break don't go back to work. And they have a tough time accepting the new reality. Why does this happen really? Do partners, family, and workspaces need to do more? Or is it just that the woman herself needs to let go of guilt and anxiety that comes along with being a working mother? Let's talk. Welcome to the Big Scope and our discussion on working mothers. I'm joined here by three guests today who will have this discussion along with me. I'll have them introduce themselves. Sanjay?
Hi, I'm Sanjay, and I work as a coach and consultant with organizations and leaders. And I have my wife also does similar work, and we are both independent consultants, and we have a 3.5-year-old. And I also have two kids from my first marriage who are much older, 18 and 14. They don't live with me, but I am an active parent in their life as well.
Thank you, Sanjay. Rashmi?
Hey, hi. This is Rashmi. So I've held senior leadership positions in sales and marketing across technology and consumer businesses. And now today, of course, I'm kind of trying to do my own stuff and turned an entrepreneur. And I have a 7-year-old daughter.
Okay. Thanks, Rashmi. Mana?
Hi, so I have corporate experience in about three big corporates, and after that I took a maternity break, and I am amongst those 65% of women who didn't go back to work initially, but now I started something of my own about 2 years ago, and so now I'm a full-time entrepreneur and a full-time mom to a 4-year-old.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So let's start from the start. So when there is talk of being a parent, or when you realize that you're going to have a new addition to the family, obviously there's a lot of talk about the health of the woman and the baby and all of that. Is there any talk that you've had in your life from partners or from family saying, yeah, I would probably want to get back to work, we'll figure it out? Obviously you can't plan everything so much in advance, but does that conversation even happen about what you would do after your maternity break, or is it not discussed at all?
No, I think talking from my experience, of course, because I have worked all my life. It's been 18 years that I've been working, and so therefore the social conditioning also inside my home was that I'm going to get back to work. So therefore everybody, right from my husband to my parents to my in-laws, everybody was kind of trying to kind of really make me comfortable that okay, you need to get back to work, but right now just think about and just enjoy this phase, which is a beautiful phase of your life. It's never going to come back. I mean, if you're just having one child, it's never going to come back. So therefore just enjoy this phase, beautiful phase, and then we'll manage when we get there, right? So that's really what it was for me.
But your social conditioning was in a way that it was okay and everyone was unsaid that you would eventually get back.
Yes, it was. I was one of those fortunate, I would say. But yes, most of them don't kind of, right? I mean, it's so hard, so much harder for a woman to kind of really get back to work, because for them, it's, as I said, it's expected. Women are expected to do a few things, right? That you are expected to kind of, after you're bearing a child, you're expected to take care of the child. You are expected. I mean, none of
it's not.
That's the way it is. That it's not the joint responsibility of husband. Okay, you never talk about men coming back or getting back to work,
or men's paternity leave for that matter. That's not really discussed.
Absolutely.
In most places.
Most places, yes.
You have something different to share, Sanjay. Your perspective as a father and
it's interesting what you just said. I kind of agree with that. That as a man, I think I have and I've been through 2 marriages, and hence also I'm seeing 3 transitions with 3 kids.
3 kids.
There, and it's true. I mean, and in both the cases, both my spouses, the previous one and now, were quite accomplished as professionals, and yet, there is that expectation saying that the woman will be
The primary
caretaker and
yeah.
caregiver. But at the same time, I saw a very interesting thing as well, which is that in both the cases, I felt that there was a lot available compared to my spouse from the environment, and yet there was some struggle for them personally to get back to it.
Yes.
I sort of want to add my point here, where this you sort of hit it bang on when you said that do you have that conversation about the change?
Right.
You don't expect this kind of change at all. You know it will be a change, but no matter how much you prepare for it, it's just inexplicable, the
It's
amount
just overwhelms the whole
it's overwhelming,
experience.
exactly. So you don't know what you're going through, right? You don't know what you will go through. And initially, so I had been working for 10 years before my baby, so and my whole ecosystem also is like same like hers, thankfully. Everybody wanted me to go back to work, right? So all those things were there, but still the personal ability to sort of make that transition from being just a mom for the first 7-8 months and then going back and taking care to see that will I be able to manage both. I took a personal call saying that I will not go back. There was no pressure saying that I have to stay back, only I have to stay back, because there would have been support if I wanted to.
Okay.
But it was a personal call where I said I don't know, that guilt of leaving that child behind, I would never have been able to manage.
So let's talk of the guilt, and Sanjay, you touched upon it, saying that even while there's a very supportive environment, it's something that holds the women back. Is it that our social conditioning tells us that it's what you're supposed to do, or is it something more biological? Have you said you had a bit of guilt saying, can I leave my child? Is it just because in a society we live in, had we lived in another country, do you think the guilt would have been lesser, because there it's
I think
norm,
definitely.
probably?
I definitely think so, because I've met a lot of people from outside our country who, where the father becomes a stay-at-home dad and the mom just goes back to work, right? After the initial nursing and weaning happens, but otherwise in India, I think you're just expected.
Yeah,
to do it.
exactly.
Yeah,
You're
you
just expected.
You're just
to do it.
expected to do it.
And probably you think of it as very natural. I mean, I thought of it as very natural when I took care of my child. I never expected my husband to go a step further than what he was doing.
You didn't expect it, but would you have liked it?
Of course. Who wouldn't?
So, Satya, tell me as a male, you've experienced that something held your previous spouse and your current spouse back. What do you think helped them get out of it? I'm hoping they both did get out of that hesitance, that anxiety, that...
I hope so. So in the first case, she did find it. She struggled, and she still struggles, I know, to get back to work. And she's had breaks, and she continues to work for a while, then has a break because she says no. She continues to do that. In the current scenario, that's more recent, because our daughter is 3.5 only, and so Vinti's just started stepping out of work for work. But one thing that I kind of got reminded of when both of you were speaking right now is that I also in my work facilitate workshops which are personal growth workshops, and I remember this moment when I was facilitating a workshop where there were 5 women, and they were all working professionals, and one of them started this conversation, and then it connected with all other 4, and they talked so painfully about the fact, saying nobody has told us, and yet it sits within us. I know I can make a choice, but I just can't seem to.
It's too much to...
It's too, there is something that just keeps holding me. I still feel guilty. I am sitting in the office and I'm doing stuff and I'm still feeling guilty. And I can tell you, as a man, I felt extremely powerless and helpless, saying, now how do I help this?
But don't you think, is it a lonely struggle? Like you said, you would have loved that your partner does more. Don't you think that there can be, or
I think-
even from personal experience, what do you think more could be done? Just
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point that you're making because a lot of times what happens, and this is by my own experiences and also a lot of my colleagues, right, who have beautifully straddled both work as
and-
well as child caring, childbearing, right. But one of the things that I personally feel is that women are kind of self-limiting themselves a lot of times, right?
Okay.
After the child is born, you just adjust to the environment. You just say that, okay, fine. I think, yeah, I need to be with my child. I mean, it's that emotional thing which kind of really keeps you back from going back to work. And also, somehow I feel that this success and likability, right? If a woman is more successful, it has come at a cost, and it has come at a cost
Exactly.
of not possibly being a good mother, right? And therefore there is a lot of social stigma attached to it. I mean,
it.
successful women are criticized more than accepted, or I don't know, somehow that's what I've experienced in my professional
That
career
adds to
also.
the whole guilt.
Exactly, that adds to the whole
Wow.
guilt of
This is
whereas
so
success and likability is very much has a positive connotation for men, but it doesn't
It's all-
have
yeah,
that
it's-
kind of a positive connotation.
You're actually
for
looking
women.
for like maybe she dropped the ball somewhere at
Yeah.
home
Simple
or
things.
with-
Simple things
Exactly,
like what your
yes.
child carries in the tiffin box.
Right.
That matters.
That
It matters
yes.
because
It
the child
matters,
comes back
yeah.
and says, that mom is not working and that's why she has so much to eat.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
But
The
tell
child
me-
knows.
But
The
tell me,
4-year-old
does
knows.
it also work the other way around? As a society, this thing of getting back to work, we see more women now than ever before getting back to work after maternity break. Still low number, but more than before. Somewhere have we also lost, while we criticize really successful women, have we lost respect for somebody who decides to stay at home and be a mother? Because if you see all these Mother's Day
Right.
celebration, and super mom is somebody, you'll see a picture of a woman, she has a baby, probably 2 babies, she has a laptop, so which
Yeah.
indicates she's working and she's cooking and she's doing all of that. So a super mom is somebody who's doing everything.
Yeah.
So this thing that I have worked, I've studied, I've got my degrees, I have worked, but if I don't go back, it's just, I won't say ego, but it's just that I don't feel respected enough. Maybe around the society we've lost respect for somebody who stays at home. Do you think that happens?
So, on the way here, one of the things I was thinking about is that even the title of this, Getting Back to Work, right? So, our language tells a lot. So, I was like, so being at home is not work?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? And then the second thing was, okay, no, maybe it's about paid work, right? I said, now, the moment you say paid work, you're again creating a hierarchy between saying, if it's paid, it's of more value, right? And then you say, no, it's about a career. So I'm like, okay, so if it's about a career, being a mother is not a career? So how our language itself is kind of creating these hierarchies in our mind, and hence doing what you just said, that discount the fact that, something must have fallen apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's also just to add to what you were saying, there's also this, we have multiple social circles, right? Not just, so in some circles there's this lot of pressure to, not just be just a mom, but to sort of go back and, do everything and be
Everything,
a
yeah.
super mom, and
Yeah.
only then you're respected. And then there's another where if they see that you're not going back to work, then they sort of respect you and say, look, she gave up so much to be a mom, so we respect you. So you actually get conflicting signals from a lot of
people around you.
and so it depends on you totally what you want to take, right?
So I have a viewer who said something similar. They said that Sarbury, one of our viewers, says women must acknowledge how they are part of the superstructure of this thinking, rather than externalizing this to society or husbands or patriarchy. So essentially what she's saying is that while the society gives you indications, contraindications, we ourselves we should hold ourselves responsible. Like she says that not just society, for example, we hate giving up our kitchens.
Yeah.
Right? We hate letting go. Why do you want to be super at everything? Why is it not? You can do a good job at a lot of things. You don't have to do 100% at everything. I mean, that's what she's essentially saying, that we hold so tight to everything. Like, are we okay asking our partners saying, you take care of the kids or you cook, it's a change. But do we really do that?
Yeah, I think yes. I mean, I agree to what she's saying. There's a complete change that you have to kind of really prepare yourself, prepare your mind and everything to kind of let go. That okay, there are a few things, but there's something that you can't let go, which is your attachment with your child. So when you start working, you see eventually that also gets a little bit compromised, right? I mean, you see that either your son or daughter is attached to a maid, for instance, more attached, and these are real life situations, and or more attached to your parents if they are if you're in-laws or if your parents are living with you. So that sometimes becomes a little bit. So you have to manage, and you have to just make sure that you're still possibly as close and you're spending quality time with your. So I mean, it's all about how you're kind of really managing, because that's the call. That's a personal choice you have taken to get back to work, right? And to your point, right? I mean, saying that women who stay back at home, absolutely, that's a work. That's a full-time work, and I think that's a work that is much more difficult, I would say, than what we do.
Yeah, you don't get a break, right?
You don't get
24/7
on your feet. Raising a child is not.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. I would say that it's much difficult than what we do in our workplaces, right? So,
the price of failure, quote unquote, is like really high, right? I mean, things like emotional attachment, everything with your child. So if you're not doing a good job as a quote unquote good job as a mom, then the price is much bigger than like what it would be, right, at work. So yes, it's tough.
So that's what Salvari is saying. She says that hearing constantly about beating the men in the society, saying this is what society is telling us, or our men are not supporting us. She says that what Sanjay is saying, the language that we use to describe ourselves is so important. So somewhere she's saying, don't look at it from your point of view. You said this is what I want to do, and I'm okay if I juggle the balls this way or that way, as long as. And who's to judge, right? Who's to judge whether I'm raising my kid well, whether I'm doing my job well? I'm my judge. But I think we get very mixed up with this whole society. But having said that, I think it's a little impossible to disconnect. You live in a society. So if you have, for example, if you have absolutely no support system around you, right? Your husband is a professional who's traveling a lot. You have no family around, and you would struggle, wouldn't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason why I managed to get back to doing whatever I was doing was because my husband was super supportive. Right now he's watching the kid, for example, right?
Okay.
That's why I'm here. So it helps to have somebody, to have support systems. Having said that, it helps to have organizations give you that leeway. All that helps, but at the end of the day, the choice is yours, and because you make that choice, the effort has to be yours as well. The 60 to 70% of it has to be you. You have to decide how you're going to manage the child. You have to.
When you say you, are you saying you as
a person,
both parents, or you as a single parent? Is it up to the woman to decide, I want to get back to work, so let me figure everything around? Is it usually like that?
No, it is about the partner, but what I'm saying is about handling the guilt, about handling
emotionally handling
handling yourself, about maybe setting your expectations, trying to understand that it's a big change. Having a child is a big change, so things will not fall back to quote unquote normal. Trying to accept that
this is your new normal, really.
Yeah, this is your new normal, and how you're going to work it around, all those things nobody else is going to do for you, right? You'll have to do it yourself. And yes, if a partner supports, it's going to be great. But
so I have a slightly different point of view, because I think for me something shifted in the last few months, I would say, because when my spouse took a break from work, and she had decided that at some point of time she'll start working, and she's still kind of getting back to it, not gotten into it fully, and we have taken a decision that whenever one of us travels, and both of us travel for work, then the other one would be at home.
Okay.
Right, so we've had to actually make the compromise, saying that one of us will earn in that sense, because we are both consultants, we get paid for our time. So if we're spending time at home, well, you make a choice of saying this is what it would be. So while for a very long time I kept on kind of getting frustrated with saying, why don't you go out and do things for yourself? Why don't you, and the guilt and all of that, I would get upset with that. I think something shifted in the last few months saying that, it's really not only about her. It's also about what has got internalized with her, and I need to be partner her in that process, because I think for her it was very difficult to separate out what belongs to her and what is the noise that is constantly being heard.
Yes.
Like for example, one moment that it kind of came to me was saying that when my parents are around, they're constantly judging her for her parenting choices. But they don't judge me. I'm making parenting choices as well.
And the judgment is more if she was working, and when she does go back to work, then there's a whole lot of judgment.
That would go up, right?
Yeah.
And so the expectations are very different, right? So for me, that understanding helped me say, it's not only her work.
True.
I need to partner her not only in supporting physically and all of that, but to walk this journey too.
Because if you have somebody who you can bounce off and who better than your partner saying, how do I manage this? And somebody shows you a way saying, we'll figure it out, let's do this, or I'll stay at home. It just, I think, makes the whole thing
Much
really easier.
Also, another perspective here I just want to share. A lot of times, and I agree with you that that all that when the child especially is small, right? I mean, it's not able to communicate, and it's like first 1 year is a bit of a very tough year, right? So after that, who are really serious about, they want to really kind of come back and eager to come back and serious about their careers. I think it's more of preparing. It's not about that again, ability to let go. That fine, because then after a point, even the child becomes very supportive of you going to work. So because they are so used to you always going to work, 9 o'clock, it's the time for my mother to kind of go to work. So they get very supportive, and they don't like when you're staying at home. And this is my own experience, right? I mean, they don't like staying because they're so used to you doing a lot of things.
Like you're always in my head, like just go away.
And all that, right? I mean, and suddenly you're like, doing nothing. So it's like good for nothing mom kind of a thing, right?
I
Not only a
totally agree with
useless
this.
teenager, but a useless mom at home now.
So just to add to all these things, a supporting partner, and sometimes I think any sort of supporting structure, even like a group of friends to sort of go out to once in a while and talk to, really helps, right? Because you're just bouncing it off, and and let's say your friends also are in similar life stages, then it helps because you talk about it and then you realize you're not the only one going through all these turmoils, then it's easier. So having that strong support system from friends and even family, whoever, like maybe cousins, whoever are going through that same life stage, it really helps.
Yeah, so I think as one of our viewers put it, we said that if your partner supports it, it's great, right? So one of our viewers actually says that it sounds like it's an extra. Why does handling the working mother guilt a woman's responsibility alone? So if there is a bouncing board, which I said ideally like a partner, but friends, workspace, we'll take whatever we get to share or to at least just take off the guilt or help us lessen the guilt. I have a few more comments that I want to read, but before that, I just want to come back to another point. There's a lot of study which says that when women want to get back to work after a maternity break, they are looking for something part-time, something flexible. But when they were asked, they said, no, we've been professionals like both of you have been, worked for more than 10 years, 15 years, and we've held very important, significant roles within our organization. So we actually don't want to go back to anything lesser than that. It's professionally, it's not okay for us. And Rashmi, especially for you, I want to ask, you were a sales professional, which is, yes, grueling and demanding and very client dependent.
Yes.
Was it the same for you? Why would you accept something lower?
Yeah, absolutely. I was very clear when so after my daughter was born, that was again my personal call that I don't want to straddle work and my child responsibility. So therefore I kind of said that okay, I'm going to take a break for a year. And fine, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I was a bit confident of myself also that okay, I mean, I don't think 1 year break will kind of really take
Set
me
you
back
yeah.
or anything of that sort. I thought we will see, because I didn't want to also lose out on that phase of my life being with my daughter, right? I mean, so it was amazing, right? You know, right from you know, how the child really attains, you know, certain milestones. I mean, all that is you know, you have to really experience it to kind of so that itself was something which was really very fulfilling for me. So therefore I really just didn't care about at that time that it will set me back or anything. But having said that, yes, I was very conscious of the fact that I was very serious about getting back to work after 1 year. So therefore I was constantly connected with my professional fraternity. So that's the effort and the attempt that you have to make, because
and
people kind of tell you, oh, she's gone for a maternity break now, she's not going to come back, or we don't know whether she'll come back. So anyways, they're doubting you, right? So therefore, I mean, so you have to make that you know, effort to kind of really reach out to people, talk to them, you know, go just make time for it, and also upgrade your skills.
Also upgrade your skills.
Right, so that's really
I don't think a lot of women do that, Romana, like actually upgrading skills, because that's a great point. If you're off on leave on break for a year, there's so much happening. Just keep abreast of the news that's happening in your industry or an industry you want to do. I think that's really relevant, and not a lot of people do that.
Yeah, it's actually very relevant, and what she's saying is true, but I'm guilty of not having done that. But it's a great advice, and if it had come earlier, maybe I would have tried to. But I think it's very important that you keep yourself in touch with everybody else, right? So that you know what's happening in the organization. But the part about losing out in terms of, you know, maybe a promotion or a grade level, I don't know if that's such a big thing, because, you know, I think for me, at least personally, it wasn't such a big thing, because you know, life is not just about grade and that level, right? Because you knew you keep taking breaks, right? So you know that it's not just about the grade or the promotion, and it's about sort of going back to work. And to sort of come back to what Namrata was saying, flexibility, I think structure helps more than flexibility. So if, for example, I know for a fact that I will travel 3 days in a week, and rest of the time I'd be around in office from 9 to say 5, and the rest of the time I'd be at home, the support structure can be more easily created if there's structure.
You can maneuver it,
so flexibility, I think, comes with a rider.
So tell me, for all of you, now that your spouse has partly gone back to work, you've gone back to work full time, you're a full time entrepreneur, that whole guilt of, am I spending less time with my child? Should I? And different phases of the child, there are different needs, right?
Yeah.
So does that still, I mean, does it bother you, Sanjay, as a father?
Of my spouse spending less, the mother spending less time
No,
with
you
the child.
when you go out for work.
Yeah.
Does it bother you that you miss an occasion, an event, or you're spending less time?
Oh yeah, and I think for me this is probably a lot more intense, because I've chosen to be a father after a gap of almost 12 years, right? My you know, the gap between the older one and this one. And so it was a difficult decision, first of all, to be father again. And now when I look back, you know, at that point of time, I was so busy building my career that, and with all these other thoughts, definitely part of my upbringing as well. You are young, you take what is given by the society for granted. So the man goes out to work, the woman stays at home.
And it's also like, I'm the breadwinner, you're the homemaker.
Absolutely.
It's just,
so my relationship with my children when they were young is very different from the one that I have now, and I miss her like anything.
And sorry if I'm saying something, so do correct me, but I assume at that point of time when you were going out chasing your career, I assume there was not guilt associated with it. Of course, those moments of, oh, I wish I could have been there, but not like a huge looming guilt over your head.
None at all, and except when it came home one day when my daughter was 18 now, and she was about 8, and there was a time, which is when I chose to actually leave the corporate world and do what I do today.
Okay.
Is that one day when she was trying to play with me something, I said, I have a call to do, and can you can we play after that? And she actually walked out on me, stamping her feet and howling, say, "You never have time for us." And that's when it sank home that the guilt I hadn't been feeling for years.
It all came at once.
It all came at that
Twice.
one. So yeah, I mean, fathers miss too. I mean, I don't think that, and I accept that maybe the social construction also is that they don't say it.
They don't say it, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
somewhere
maybe
acceptable
yes,
that you're
yeah.
out there.
Out there, and yeah, you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to take duty, responsibility.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that I find myself doing as well as other men doing is that we often kind of confuse care and sensitivity. What I mean by that is that I care for my child, yeah, so I provide for her, and then I get gifts for her, and then, you know, I make sure she's safe, and, you know, make sure that she gets the best of things. Yeah, but the fact is that am I present for her and sensitive enough to her that what she needs at that moment? That she's asking for, when kids ask for time, I think they're only asking for attention. And I think most fathers say quality time, etc. But I think they are not able to articulate that, saying that I really want to have that kind of a connection. So I coach a lot of you know, leaders and who are in their 40s and 50s now, and now I can see that their kids are grown up and how much they rue the facts
That
saying
they
don't have the
just lost.
connection anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think for men, the whole thing hits later when they realize that children are grown up. But that's interesting. But tell me, both of you are now juggling full-time careers. How does the guilt again come on specific occasions, or are they like the small things when you miss and you have a meeting, or how do you handle that right now?
No, I think, yeah, I mean, see, you can spend the whole day with your child, right? Versus spending a few hours, you know, that's the call that you have to take, right? So spending the whole day, yes, of course, I mean, that's an amazing feeling. You're kind of, you know, able to pick your child from the school, you know, and everything, whatever errands that you need to do, and make her feel important, and, you know, give that kind of an attention, just listen to her stories, whatever she has to say, right? I mean, he or she has to say. So all that, of course, makes the child feel very good, right? I mean, that my mom is there, you know, 24/7. So yes, I mean, you could have done that, but I mean, somehow it's again the personal choice here that you make, that, you know, 24/7 versus a few hours. How do you kind of really make it work for you?
True.
Right? So that's how it is for me.
Similar things. I do feel a lot of guilt pangs. So right now is summer vacation time. So my child is at daycare and I'm working, and I see other children of non-working moms being out and playing, and summer vacations as they should be. So there's a lot of guilt that comes. So, you know, you try to balance, you try to take a few days here off, manage to be a little flexible about it, but the guilt is still there. You know, but the other side of the story is that I have a daughter, and I want to see her. I want to set an example for her, right?
You want her to see you as somebody who's working,
things.
creating, and is her own person, apart from being a mother.
Exactly. So I want that for her. I want, you know, I want her to get that also, saying that, you know, you can have it. I'm not saying super mom, because we do make a lot of compromises, but to sort of say that if you want something really, like, for example, I definitely wanted a career, then you can go for it and have a family too. That's something that I wanted to send a message to her, and I said that if I stay at home and I give her, and I keep telling her that you can do it, it's not going to happen.
It's not right.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of connect to that a lot, what you just said, because I remember one of her friends when she came to see a newborn at that point of time, and she was talking about it, and she said something that stayed with me so much, is that, you know, the best thing that we can ever do for our children is to have an interesting lives ourselves.
Yes, because and that's true for a lot of engagements. They say if you're not interesting yourself, you're not interesting to the other person, be it a child or be it an adult. So we have a few questions. Let me take them in. So one of our viewers, Roop Sen, has asked a question, and Sanjay, I'll ask the question to you first and then to the ladies because it's a gender question. It says, do you think men can be effective stay-at-home parents in the first couple of years of the child's life? Don't say maybe.
Yes. First couple of
First-
years, definitely difficult. No. Because
Wow, thank you for being so honest.
I mean, I struggled being even a part parent in the first 2 years, so forget about being a full
Why is
parent.
that? Is it just
Well, first of all, there is
Feeding?
biology.
Yeah.
There is definitely
Right.
that. And when I say biology, not only the process of feeding, but
Feeding,
the
yeah.
fact is that there is a certain bonding that comes with feeding.
Hmm.
So though my daughter is very attached to me, and you
Hmm.
know, there was one point of time my wife used to be very jealous about the fact that she would get
Okay.
actually calm down in my hands and stuff like that. But I know for a fact that she needed that
Right.
comforting with the mom at certain points of time,
Mm.
and I couldn't have definitely met it.
Hmm.
That's one part of it.
Hmm.
The second part of it, if I would have found personally difficult, which I still find difficult, is
Mm.
that especially in the last few months, then we've started doing this piece of one of us will be at home. Is
Mm.
that one is that she's got certain patterns, etc. So right,
Mm.
so I need to learn to recognize those signals and get used to them. And somebody who's not been at home for so long and has been in the work world, to
Mm.
switch that in my head is very difficult.
Okay.
Right? That this is happening, and I now need to switch my radar to this. You know, what is she feeling? What does she need, etc., etc.
Mm.
Right? And the second piece to that is that I also need to accommodate my work into it, just like you talked about your struggles of
right,
spending
right.
few hours, right? So for me to switch on and switch off, that's been difficult. And the moment you say first 2 years, I'm like, my God, that time there isn't even language for the
Yeah,
child
you-
to say,
yeah,
right? So I would find it very, very challenging,
Difficult
difficult to do
even
that.
Agree? Disagree? Different points?
Well, I definitely agree that I think first few years you cannot, I think what a child needs is a mother.
Hmm.
So I think that is inseparable. I don't think that we can kind of, because it's more to biological than anything else, I would
Hmm.
think, right? It's not even other things. I think you yourself feel that you need to be there. That's
Hmm.
it, point. Right. So, but yeah, I think men, as in husbands, are possibly good at not making a big deal out of everything. Like we women sometimes, just the guilt and everything is like so much, in our minds. But they just kind of look at it at a very different perspective because they don't want to. I think the ability to switch off is far better in men than in women.
So you're at work but still thinking
Still
about
thinking
your
that
daughter
okay,
who's-
you're constantly calling your mom or your maid or whatever, right? I mean, so it's like you're not able to switch off. So that I think men are able to do much better.
much better. I wonder if it's just
Yeah.
because, like you said, social conditioning, that you don't grow up like that, and hence it's not part of your thought process, or is it biological? Like we always know, usually women do know what is missing in the kitchen. So my husband will say, "Tell me what to get, and I will get." And I say, "I know what is missing in the kitchen. How do you not
Not
know?
know.
Because you've not known for 40 years, so you will not know, right?" So I'm wondering if that changes as you bring up your child from when he's a child. Does that really change? But I don't know if you can.
I don't know
You
if
have
that
to
is.
say something.
I don't know if it's a man-woman thing, but I think I've always found my husband having a resource view of things. Right? He says, "Okay, so 2 to 4. Can you call this one? Can you leave her at the daycare? Can we do these things?" So he looks at it in a very practical
Very
resource
steps,
ABCD
yes.
sort of view.
Yeah.
No, I've never had that, and I at least in the initial 2 years, definitely not. But now I'm slowly beginning to look at things like that. I'm actually, and I think that sort of helps to have a resource view of things. The emotional connect part has to be there. It will be there. Time spent will be there, but. At the end of the day, if you're doing something like work and you need to be practical about it, having a resource view of things and not sort of taking everything too personally helps.
Helps.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a viewer, Supriya, who says, "I would disagree that the guilt is in our mind." I think Rashmi, you made it. I think the guilt is internalized due to social conditioning, which is what we were saying, that if you were not brought up the way we were, if the society was not the way it is, would things have been different? We don't know. I don't think we can answer it since we're not in the society. And there are so many more questions. And Sanjay, for you specifically, since you said fathers are probably not well equipped in the first few years, there is a question for you, but we'll take a quick break and we'll be back. Stay tuned for more questions and answers. since you said that it's difficult for biological and other reasons for the fathers to be parents staying at home in the first couple of years, a viewer, Roop Sen, actually asked a question: do you think then that children of single fathers are at a disadvantage?
Honestly, I don't have an opinion on it because I don't have an experience of anything like that. But I'm really trying to imagine that what would it be like. Well, children of single mothers, definitely I know, because my older children live with their mother, right? So, and it's been a hard life for her, I know that. And I hear from child, I'm not sure whether there's going to be any difference for a
Maybe
single
you
mother
just,
or
when you
father.
are a single parent, you tune in to all the other things that you usually don't tune into. So women tune into different things and men tune into different things.
Yeah.
It's just something that you have to get together and get
So,
going.
and I also have a different view. I mean, slightly connected to that. You know, a view on it is that one of the things that I in my anger sometimes when we are having one of those domestic squabbles is saying that, that I've said to Venti a couple of times, saying, look, parenting is a 25-year journey. Why are you assuming that what has happened for the last 3 years is all there is? And I think as a father, you do start playing many more roles as the child grows older.
Like what?
So, for example, the kind of emotional. If I take the whole thing of physicality, for example, right? My daughter just loves the fact that I do risky stuff with her, right? The physical, I'll hang with her, I'll exercise with her, I'll dance
But
with
isn't
her.
that a bit of a stereotype? I mean, there are enough moms doing that. I know what you're saying, I get it. I generally see fathers jumping around a lot more, but I don't want to reinforce the stereotype.
So I don't want to
give me your
reinforce
point
the
of view.
stereotype. Yeah, that's true. Because I also know that my 18-year-old daughter is a footballer, right?
Yeah,
so there is also that. But I see that I see myself doing it a lot more. That's all I'm saying, right? I mean, in this particular relationship, that's what's happening. I may be different elsewhere.
Elsewhere,
right?
yeah.
And similarly, when as my older children have gotten old, especially and there does seem to be a gender difference in the sense. For example, my boy who is 14 now. That teenage years, that father connection is very different. He seems to want and need that guidance from me a lot more than he would go to his mother for that. Right? So
you're saying it evolves the role of a father.
The role of a father.
Both parents probably evolve.
Both parents evolve in a different way, but I just see that the fathers potentially will also play many more roles. So just limiting it to saying what can you do for 2 years or not is to me also boxing it in then.
Okay. Since we were actually talking about women getting back to work, it's usually around that. But sorry, you were saying something.
No, I wanted to sort of add to what you were saying about our roles changing, the fathers. I think the mother's role also changes because, for example, I do a lot more with my daughter now than even I was able to do till she was 2, right? Because at that time it was like, you just had to feed the baby.
You're nurturing, but you're not really doing things with them.
Yeah, so now she and I go to karate class together. I mean, I started attending her karate class. So there are a lot of things that you as a mom also can do a lot more with your child as the child grows older, and the needs are different, right? So I don't know if it's a dad can do different things, but I think
it evolves.
It evolves.
So we'll just take a viewer question here which says that I'm a mom. I don't have the name of the viewer. I'm a mom and I don't want to get back to work and I feel guilty about my choice.
Oh, okay.
Have you had people around you? You of course have gone back to work, but any experiences around you where women have felt guilty about wanting to stay at home?
No, she is guilty about because she has stayed at home.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go back to
She doesn't
work.
want.
Yeah, so like I was talking about this to like many social circles that you're part of, and in some, if you go back to work, then you feel guilty. In some others you don't. So I do know of parents who've made that choice of not having gone back to work and feeling guilty because somewhere they feel they've wasted their
education and all the past experience
and the effort of their family, right? Like my parents put a lot of effort to get me where I am today, right? So even they keep giving you those, because I had it till for those 2 years that I took a break. My father was so angry
That
right?
you weren't going back to work?
That and till what I do now it has reached a stage where he's happy and proud, and he goes around telling about it. But the first 1 year was really tough, where he said, "What are you doing? Why are you wasting your life, your career? I put so much effort for it, right?" So.
Yeah, I
It's
think
there,
yeah,
I
I think it's very natural to feel that way. But I think yes, after a point, I mean, when the child is small, of course you want to be with the child, and it demands that kind of attention and love. But when the child grows up, you know yourself that I don't think you can really engage with your child 24/7, because he's going to school. He's anyways busy with a lot of activities, right? So in fact, you are lonely then, right?
Yeah, because
you don't
then
have anyone.
You
So
focus
at
everything,
that
and
time
that
it
part's
hits you.
gone away. Yeah.
Absolutely, and at that time it hits you that okay, fine. So now what? Right, and that guilt comes in then. So therefore, you need to prepare yourself to kind of get back to work early on when your child is small, right? So that this guilt doesn't come in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if on that, some of the friends I know and family I know, they kept delaying going back to work, and I kept hearing from them that it gets harder and harder as the gap becomes
bigger.
larger. I was wondering if that's what you.
I've also actually
does,
adding.
it
I've
does,
also
yeah.
heard that I've had friends who've have gone to good colleges, have had good jobs, and after they've had a baby, they've taken a slightly extended break for whatever reasons, and they've then said that I just don't feel confident even going to an interview. And this is someone who's worked for like 7, 8 years, 10 years, and they just say that I just don't feel confident anymore.
That, yes, I've heard a lot. And the other thing that happens is, right, say for example upskilling, right, that there is a person who I know who actually enrolled herself in an upskilling program, but for some reason, now that's a flexible program, right, she keeps stalling it. She takes breaks from it, saying that yes, I'll do, because you yourself are not serious about it, right?
About it. You're actually doubting, can I actually do this? When you have doubt, it's very difficult to stick to something there.
Number one, and number two, it's also like you have other social engagements coming up, so you sort of put this on hold. If you were in a full-time job, you would never do that.
Yeah.
So these things happen too.
Very interesting. So one of our viewers, Shant says, either way, it's a lot of sacrifice from both sides. I'm not really sure. It would be great, Shant, if you're watching, it would be great if you could elaborate, because we're really talking about women getting back to work. I've rarely seen men struggling to get back to work after taking care of kids, right? So it'll be great if you're watching, elaborate, help us, and we'll pick up the thread as well. I have another viewer, Vinti, in fact, who says that this guilt is just both biological and social, not one or the other. It affects the way we play the role of a mother in our head, that you cook for them, you clean for them, you should be there when they come back home. Probably our mothers were there when we came back home from school. You're doing all the social outings with them. So it's just both biological and social, not just biological, I guess.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
is social as well. So coming back to, we'll pick up more viewer questions, but coming back to women getting back to work, right? Once you get back to work, how do you think from a workplace perspective? You've gone back to full-time corporate environments. What is the kind of support that you see, or what is the kind of support that you wish was better when you go back to work?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of
From both, not just workspace, but not just from workspace, but even from family, society, whatever.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit about workspace now, because I think our workspaces still need to get much more evolved, because I don't think they are, there yet to kind of make it easy for women to kind of get back to work. Because yes, there are a lot of IT companies who are kind of consciously, altering their policies and doing that kind of stuff so that they can accommodate more and more women in workspace, right? Workplace, but I think there's a lot to do there. I feel, because a lot of times it is to do with your immediate manager. So if your immediate manager is not sensitive towards the motherhood and what it brings, then you don't have it. You
So
don't
give
have
me
those
some
flexibilities.
specifics of where you think
Right.
it
So,
could be better.
so for instance, if your manager is not, then there are a few things there are a few rules that you make, right, when you're going through that, especially when your child is small, about a year or so, when you have to give more time to your child than to your workplace, right? So flexi working hours and all that kind of stuff. It's really, I mean, it just boils down to your manager.
It's
If your
just like
manager
a
is
discipline,
okay, we are
yeah.
okay.
It's just a discipline.
You
So
know,
if you
most
say,
of the times HR head says, if your manager is okay, we are okay.
Oh.
You know, that's not the way it should be. It
Yeah.
should be that your HR policies are constructed in a manner that your manager is sensitized to those needs.
So if you
at
say
that
you
time.
need to go home at 6 because your nanny leaves at 6,
Yes,
and you call for a
right.
meeting at 5 and say, okay, like, can we do it at 6? And then you start feeling guilty saying, oh, I'm not able to do this meeting at 6.
Yes.
But that shouldn't really
That
happen,
shouldn't
right?
really
You said the
happen.
meeting was 5, I could do 5, and I shouldn't be feeling guilty. We've also talked about a lot of guilt on leaving, the baby behind, but
Yes.
there's also a lot of guilt when it comes to situations like this, that
Right.
short notice travel, short notice meetings, not having flexibility, that you start feeling guilty that am I not doing a good job, because nobody wants to be doing a bad job at what they're doing. You want to
Yes.
do a good job. You
Yes.
don't want other people to accommodate you because you're a mother. That's really not how any mother would want to go back into a work life. Romana, you were in HR, so tell me something about HR policies and how there are a lot of programs today for women to come back to work. What I've also been reading, a lot of these programs are not really very successful because the whole gender diversity talk has taken on. The programs are designed with the right intentions, but by the time they come down to implementation, it's just another HR program. And it's also about, okay, let's open some roles to women who want to come back, but they probably will not be the very critical roles. You're kind of experimenting. So give us an HR perspective from your experience.
Okay, so I
So does the whole P&L and profitability in today's quarter-on-quarter world really allow corporates to give women the flexibility that they need, the maternity breaks that they need?
I don't know if it's about women or about breaks in general, but she was right. It's about the manager. It's always about the manager. If he is sensitive and if he can manage his resources around, I say he, but he or she can manage the resources around, because I don't want to have this thing of he perpetrating something on she, but if he or she can sort of work things around, then it really becomes.
But that's the point. You've made it very. When I say you again, we've let it be. You're lucky if you have a good manager, but that's not really how it should be, right? Like you said, there has to be a policy that supports.
Correct.
a lot of structural things that as HR and as at policy level organizations do. For example, I know for a fact that my organization used to extend leave up to a year, right, and then put an effort to ensure that people who were on the bench after coming back were assigned projects. So that's there was an entire team doing that. So that's great. Then they had a creche inside the campus itself, which sort of at that time it wasn't mandated, right? But at that time they had it, and it sort of helped. Those structural things, I think, as organizations you can do, but those day-to-day things, like you said, that 5 to 6 meeting, or that it becomes 6 to 7, is highly dependent on the sensitivity of the direct supervisor involved. And so more than structural things, if organizations can sort of give those coaching to their managers to be more sensitive to these things, it will help.
So again, coming back, tell me, you didn't go back to your full-time corporate job, but you ended up starting something on your own. Was it a decision because you felt you wouldn't be able to take care of your kid if you went back, or is it an opportunity for women to then think differently? Because you changed your work completely after.
Yes, it is. I would encourage all of us. While I don't think that we should look at it that once you have a baby, then you can't go back to a corporate job, or you can't go back to doing what you were doing. But it would be nice, because I have always wanted to do something different out of corporate, and so I took it as an opportunity to explore other things, and it could help if you don't look at it in a very linear sort of a way, saying that I was left here, I go back right here. Instead, if you could sort of explore things around, you might become more successful personally and.
It's an important point because I was reading an article which said that things that help women get back to work, and the points that you said, saying be connected, network, upgrade your skills, and it's a time that you have. You are doing a 24/7 job, but you do have those few hours where you can look at what's happening around you and explore. And if not, actually go out there and do something, be updated and saying, oh, this is happening, maybe I could do this, maybe attend an event that you're interested in, meet other professionals just to see maybe there's something else out there. And that I think not a lot of people do because
and
they get
also,
overwhelmed, I guess.
Yes, and also one of the things is that I think we are too shy to kind of call out for help also. Right? I think we need to start doing that. I mean, right? I mean, so just call out for help. I mean, there's absolutely no problem in just letting somebody say that, look, I have to attend so and so event, or I have to go for a meeting. Even if your spouse is not around, or your support system, your immediate family is not around, you can always call out for help to with other people, right, who are willing to help. It's not that, it's just that we think that, okay, no, I think we should be managing ourselves. And
this is I don't know if it's a woman thing.
It's not a woman. I'm just talking in general. Absolutely,
The reason why a lot of us don't ask for help is because we don't give help quite often. Because if we think that we can give help, then we are okay to take help, right? It's a give and take game.
So, one of the things that I was struck by in the dialogue that was happening just now is that in some ways we are talking about, we are all very privileged if you see the social structure of this country, right? And there is that housemaid at work who leaves her 5-year-old child at home
because she doesn't have an option.
Right? And so there is that motherhood and work process playing out very much there, and there it is completely dependent upon the employer, right? The HR, the immediate manager, so to say, right?
Very true.
So I wonder, that sometimes not having other options is probably an advantage to you because it just pushes you to work.
So I think that also comes back to what Roop had asked about single parents, right? When you don't have an option, whether you're a father or a mother, when you are a single parent as a mother, you have to go back and earn. You will figure out a way to go out there and earn. These things will still remain. And if you're a single father, a lot of this, can I nurture, can I care, can I be sensitive, you pull it all together, and you do it when you're a single parent. There is, like you said, when there's no choice, you do pull all of this together. So great. I think we have about 5 more minutes, so let's just take some closing comments. Roop, I know the question that you've asked around governments and courts to discriminate adoption and parenting. Roop says that the fact that men can probably not be there in the initial years, governments and courts take that into account in case of a men adoption and parenting in case there's a divorce, in terms of who gets custody. Because the usual fact or the usual thought is that the children go to the woman.
I was given that advice when I went through my divorce.
Because of the caretaking ability, or?
I was told by my lawyer saying that because there are very little chances that you will get custody because your children are so young.
And you're a father.
And I'm a father, so I can't. Don't even try it.
It's a sensitive issue. Maybe we should have another talk around it. Saying, would you have wanted to try it?
There were struggles, honestly.
For emotional reasons, forget everything else. But no father would want, would say, don't try getting custody of your child. Why not?
So at a personal level, yes, there was a struggle for me because I am very ambitious and career oriented. So it did bring up all those kind of things that will I be able to set up all that infrastructure to do that?
Okay.
Right. So there was that struggle for me. But yes, so there was a part of me which wanted it, and there was a part of me that didn't.
Which wondered, can I pull all this off?
And so when I did state the wish to do it, and then somewhere I just said, okay, if it's not possible, why fight for it even?
And I think that the discussion becomes more relevant, like Roop was saying, in when the discussion happens more around, I want to do this, forget whether I can or can. I want to be, I want to take care of my kids. And then as couples going through separation, it's so much more harder to convince courts. And we've had, Roop, just to let you know, we've had a single father who had adopted, a single parent, right? So he went through this whole adoption journey to be a single father, and he had all of these questions saying, can you, who's going to take care, right? And he got a baby that was 6 months old when he adopted. So all these questions about taking care, being able to be there, care and sensitivity, and he had to go through the whole process. But having said that, single moms go through, who want to adopt also go through something similar. So it's not about, and it's a choice he made. It's not about saying he was single.
Yeah.
He said, I just wanted to be a parent. It is not about I was old and I was not, having kids or whatever. He says, I felt the time was right for me to be a father, and so I decided to adopt. And he went through the legal hurdles to get a baby. So I think it's just wanting to do that and being able to do that. I think as fathers, it's more hard to convince the system around saying I can
Not
do
only
it.
system, I mean, one part of it also was saying that, somewhere that social conditioning saying, I'm a man and now if I do want to set this up, I'll have to ask my parents to support me in this process. And it ran through my head saying, I'm the son, I'm supposed to take care of them. So now if I ask them to take care of me and my, it was just, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, but there are families that have 2 daughters. So who's the son there? Who's taking care of who?
Yeah.
That's social conflict, right? Okay. So coming back, I know. Let's talk. Let's close. Closing comments, Rumana. I want to ask from both you and Rashmi, to do what you're doing today. Being a mother, also doing a job. What helped you the most? What is helping you the most? Keeping, like you said,
My understanding family, my husband, totally, because he's just there for me whenever I need him, and in terms of not just childcare support, but also professionally being my sounding board, to be that person with whom you can be vulnerable, to open yourself out and show your vulnerability. He's been there for me, and I think he has been the absolute
and I think it helps when you say that men don't make a big deal out of it. So maybe they tell you that you're making a big deal out of it. Get your perspective straight, So Rashmi, what would you have?
Yeah, I think yes. Of course, the supportive parents and everybody is a whole lot to really sail you through this process, right? But I think a lot of it, I would like to give credit to myself as well, that a lot of it is also self-belief.
I think that is missing in a lot of us. We just,
right. It's just self-belief that you can straddle beautifully between the two. I think that needs to be there, ingrained in you. Then only you can make it happen. Otherwise, even if the society, even if the spouse, everybody is supportive, but you are not confident of yourself, it's not going to happen.
And then it reflects, I think, in
and it
everything
just
you
reflects
do.
in everything what you do. So I think yes, I would say absolutely credit to my my family there, my spouse, my brother, my my mother. Oh my God, I can't even I don't want to give a thank you speech here, but yes, but a lot of it is to do with my own self.
And I think we don't do
say,
that
yeah.
often enough.
Yes,
When one gets
absolutely.
we don't give credit to ourselves.
Yes,
enough to.
absolutely, absolutely.
And Sanjay, my question to you is slightly different. Your experience of being a father to 3 children, is there anything you feel you could have done differently in supporting your spouses through this journey of motherhood, straddling motherhood and professionalism?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely with my first experience of parenting and my first marriage, I would say I could have done a lot better in being able to understand all the challenges that we are talking about today. I just kind of assumed that this is how the world runs, and this is what the man's job and that's what the woman's job, and that conditioning is something that I've had to confront a lot for myself, and also to recognize my privilege. That so for example, when you were talking about you use the word compromise, I'm like, I don't use the word compromise as a man, right? And the fact that you were pushed for going for your career and why are you at home and stuff like that, nobody pushes me for being a parent at home.
Like, why aren't you
Why aren't you
spending
spending my time, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have that pressure, but so to be able to understand that privilege and be able to be with it's very difficult. But I think that's what is something that I would say as a father I would do differently.
But I'm glad that at least you're at a position where you where you question the social conditioning. A lot of them go through life without really questioning it, because only when we question can we teach our kids better, and hopefully that they will have a better situation than a lot of us do today. So anyway, thanks. I think it was a great discussion, and special thank you to all our viewers. You've had so many interesting questions that kept us going. Yes, we have a lot of people working. I think it's important that we don't judge either way. Don't judge a woman who's working and who's a mother that she's dropping the ball somewhere, and the moment the child falls sick a little more, and you say, oh, you've not been feeding him properly, or if you're a stay-at-home mom, that's fine as well. That's a great thing that you're doing. It is tough, right, being at home taking care of the child. Let's not even disrespect or lower our respect for women who've consciously decided to stay at home. And more importantly, I would reinforce what Rashmi said, self-belief. If you want to do it, go out there and do it. Social conditions will remain. Families, if you're lucky, will be supportive. If you're lucky, they'll be neutral, like Sanjay said. But just have a belief. If you want to do it, go out there and do it. It's a new. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week with another discussion.